Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Best Ever You Show. It's Elizabeth and Katie here with the one and only Brianna Brown Keen. How are you, Brianna?
I'm doing great. It's been a
So,
it's been a kooky morning, but I love it.
yeah, we're giggling a little bit here because so somebody else take over here. We thought you were interviewing us, so Katie sent the link, and then the
I
link was to your show, and you're like, huh.
Yes, yeah, because when I have a podcast called Manifesting Your Mission with Brianna Brown Keen, and I batch record them in a certain time, and I have a certain format that I do, like with questionnaires and all this stuff. And then when I said, because I hadn't gotten a link from you guys, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's weird, but okay. So I just like, hey, I need a link, and then she sent me a link from. I'm a master Reiki practitioner, and I do a long distance Reiki once a month. And so I had said, she sent me that link, and I was like, and it said like Reiki on Thursday. And I'm like, weird, they do
That's
Reiki
my
too.
show. And then, it was more funny because last night,
That's weird.
well, Katie goes, remember on Brianna's show, she asks, what are you drinking? And I'm like, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we would have had so
yeah.
we got our,
And I didn't set up something to drink because I'm like, well, not most places don't.
well, I think at this point we should drink heavily. But
Yeah.
I've got water in a blueberry cup. So what have you got over there, Katie? And
I've got one of our merch cups.
oh, look at that! Look at our
Yes.
merch cups, Brianna.
Be
This is so
bold,
cool.
be brave, be you.
Oh my God, I want one. Where do I get it?
You go to besteveryou.com and click shop,
Okay, great. I'm getting one.
and it's the
And then
coolest
you know
thing.
what's going to happen?
But
When
we'll
I interview,
send you one for being on the
oh,
show. Let that sound.
oh, that'd be amazing. And then when I interview you guys in a couple months, I will have that mug.
Oh, cool. Okay. Love it.
What would you be drinking?
Oh gosh, I've been on a little bit of a like too much caffeine phase. So I'm trying to get off the too much caffeine. But caffeine and I have a love-hate relationship. We have these love affairs, and then we have a breakup, and we don't talk to each other. And then I kind of tiptoe back, and then we have a love affair. So yeah, I'm trying to break up again with my caffeine addiction. But
Katie, what are you trying to break up with? I'm always chocolate.
Caffeine.
Like if I need to break up with something, it's always
This is
chocolate.
mushroom. This is pure mushroom fake
What?
coffee. It's
What is
pure
it?
fake coffee. It's really, really good. I
What
love
is
it.
it? Did you say mushroom?
Mushroom.
Like
Mushroom.
like
Yeah.
mushroom, like mushroom.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it
doesn't
tastes like
sound
hot
good.
chocolate. It's really, really good. I love it. It's
Yeah.
anyway.
I'll have to.
Okay, so on with Brianna.
yeah, by the way,
Brianna. So
By-
all of us, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you love chocolate, sorry to tempt you. I'm obsessed with John Kelly chocolate.
John
Obsessed.
Kelly chocolate.
John
Okay.
Kelly chocolate. Just
All right.
saying.
Yeah. Well, where do you get that? Is it in?
That's like little gourmet stores. They have like this, it's like fudgy. You only need like a bite, and it's like, what is this? You can order it online too, but it's just, we had it at our wedding, and like you cut it up, and that's like when Santa comes,
Yeah.
Santa, I get some Santa chocolate. I'm like, if I'm going to have it, it's worth it,
And now here's a silly question: is it nut free, or is
But
it?
yeah, there's ones that have nuts. There's ones that don't. Usually it's like sea salt, might have sea salt or caramel. It's like fudgy, but not fudge. Fudge sounds like it's cheaper than what it is. It's just happiness and
Happiness and I do Vermont nut free chocolate. That's my go-to because I have the anaphylaxis to nuts and stuff. So Vermont nut free chocolate, the chocolate covered pretzels are insanely addictive, and not you've got wellness,
Yeah.
babes. It's not on that plan, I don't think.
Well, you can do that. It's just about not as much and
Not the
savor
whole
it.
bag. Yeah,
Not
exactly.
the whole bag. Not the whole bag.
Not the
Savor it.
whole bag. Yeah. These are the best shows, by the way, these unscripted shows. And to all of our listeners, thank you, because we don't advertise at all, ever, for how many years now? I don't know, since 2010. And we have almost 8 million downloads now. And it's because people love our our conversation about whatever it is. I mean, we get on here and we talk about whatever. And I think I'm going to throw it over to Katie to start talking about Brianna, though. But if you're on a treadmill, run faster if you're having Vermont nut free, pretzels, because you got You got carbs to work off. Anyway, Katie, go.
I can always put chocolate. It's my drug of choice. So anyway, so Brianna, most people know you from entertainment. We've all seen you on different shows, which I absolutely love, but they don't know the story behind you, Brianna Brown Keen, and your wellness. So what first inspired you to prioritize well-being?
Okay, so that's a great question. Um, so yes, most people recognize me from like General Hospital, Devious Maids, Dynasty, Outer Banks, Homeland. I've died on a million procedurals. I've been a bad guy in a million procedurals. Right.
Ghost, ghost.
Yeah, I just recently did a dealio on Ghost, which was very fun. So yeah, so I've done that for, I mean, I don't even know how many years now. It's a couple decades, professionally. And wellness has obviously been a huge part of being in my business. It's a visual medium, and I'm in a category that requires you to, dot your I's and cross your T's. And I come from Minnesota, and I had to learn everything about wellness when I came out to LA at 19, because I thought a salad was iceberg lettuce with ranch dressing and, maybe some croutons and bacon bits. That's what I was, that's what a salad is. And then I had to be competing against girls with eating disorders that were models, pageant, like just people that just understood and knew that knew the ins and outs that like Elizabeth knew in the competition. It's a whole thing.
The whole thing.
It is a whole thing. And obviously how to do it well. And then my family has a lot of health issues. I have on my mom's side severe autoimmune. My mom has a muscle degenerative disease and she's in a wheelchair decades before she should in memory care. My dad died in his 50s of cancer from stress and not eating well and, lifestyle choices. And so I saw these paths at a young age that really impacted me. And then on top of which, at 19, I hurt my back and I was told I would never run again. And so at 19 in LA, told to sink or swim by my parents, I had to figure out my wellness real fast or I had to go home. And I was really stubborn. So I figured it out. I put my money into how do I figure it out? And I did. And I healed my back through acupuncture and Qigong. And not only did I, heal my back and was able to run again, I went and I ran multiple half marathons and a marathon. I started playing soccer, like all of these things. So I saw that if I learn how to heal from the inside, my body can recover from almost anything, right? And I also found that when I dealt with those sorts of issues, especially because I had had severe cystic acne and just different hormone and mental health stuff, that it is almost all rooted in the gut. It's rooted in health issues. So the last couple of years, I've been doing a ton of research with my dear friend Julie Delabar, who is an incredible oncology specialist as well as a functional nutritionist, and she's a big fitness expert and she's been a fitness competitor. And then Reagan Wallach, who I've known them both since I was 19, and she's also an integrative nutritionist and a chef. And I'm really into goal setting and accountability, and I've been doing that for 20 years through my nonprofit and my book and all of these things. And so we created Wellness Babes. And right now we have a 5-day free reset. It's super yummy and easy, so it's not overwhelming. And then we have our 12-week course that people can be part of that is set up in a way, is either 12-week or 12 module, depending on your pacing. And then we have a monthly community where people can come in and ask us questions on how to, deal with the cooking aspect and or the nutrition and science aspect, or how do I create the habit so I'm not yo-yoing? How can I make it not so extreme, or whatever these things that we were raised with by our moms, probably, that have taught us unhealthy relationships with food and our body.
So I need to go back because you said 19, and I got to tell you, I think I've known you almost that long from Best Ever You. I mean, if we go all the way back to when you first appeared in Best Ever You and on Best Ever You magazine, that was almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was the cover of
19.
the first episode, right?
You were the
No.
cover of our first magazine. You were one of the first. So that was one of the things I was going to do today was stop, pause, and thank you, because I think that a large part of you rests in Best Ever You. I mean, you launched us, you kicked us off the ground, you brought your community into the new Hollywood, you blogged, you were on the magazine, you were on the podcast, you did all these things to kind of foundationally position us solidly to grow to kind of where we are today. And today we write books and do all these things. And I do say a lot of prayers and thank yous to you often, for really putting that faith in us, because, we still have never met in person. I'm like, I got to get to Los Angeles. I'm like, let's both meet in Minnesota. We're from Minnesota. We were both born in Minnesota. And as you were talking, I'm like, that is land of the mayo. You forgot mayo on your, people
Yeah.
take lettuce and put it in mayo with peas and cheese. And I'm like,
So Jello mold with fruit. I'm like, that's not a salad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. So now, so I just wanted to stop and give everybody that context and perspective of, how long we've known each other, how long Katie has known you, because Katie came in, I think, two or 3 years after Best Ever You started. And so we've all known each other for a really long time, and we're proud of the journey and watching you do all the things that you have done. And it was fun the other night to see you on Ghosts, and I texted you. I'm like, "Are you a devious ghost?" I need to know what kind of ghost you are. And if you're listening, everybody on that show, she needs to be a devious ghost. Although the guy with no pants is the funniest thing on the planet.
Hilarious.
I mean, have you watched that show, Katie?
I have, and I didn't realize you were on, but I'll have to go back and watch it because
I found her on
but I have to tell you, Brianna, as a mental health provider, you absolutely nail mental illness, schizophrenia, and some of the stuff you've done. You are absolutely so ruthless and at the same time lovable. And I have just I've just watched you in awe because you absolutely nail it every time.
Thank you. She means when I'm playing a character, she's not saying I have schizophrenia.
Yeah, I know. I was like, not in real life. Yeah. It's hard to know because, you're so adorable. And then it's like, but there's, anytime you see you on screen, it's like, and there's the twist, it's funny.
I know. Really fun because my husband was the producing director on the show. So I was there all the time. And then the creators were like, hey, how about we, create a cameo for you? And then, maybe, I'll be able to come back. I'm like, great. Yeah, I'm there in Montreal. Let's do it. So it's fun. And I was a ghost with a waitress from like the 80s, maybe 90s. And to have like a big, like thing in my back, like where they would take notes for,
you got the check. Where they put the text on the thing, somebody stabbed Brianna with it or something.
I want to know, what did she do? What did she do to be so annoying to get or
turned around? My husband and I just laughed. I'm like, oh my God. And you have to be a certain age to know what that is too, because they don't exist anymore. Everything's just swipe your card. But in the old days, you'd get a whatever you call it, a handwritten receipt, and you'd go up and pay, and then the people at the register would take it and put it on whatever that thing is called. It's in Brianna's back. You guys can find it and look. But anyway, okay, tell us what's happening with manifesting your mission. Back up to that. Yeah.
Okay. So when I was in my 20s, I needed to find community. And so I ended up forming a goal group, a goal accountability group. And at a certain point, I just wanted it to have more than just focus on self, and wanted there to be focus on giving back. And so kind of the tagline is rise higher, shine brighter, give back. And over time that divided up into two entities. They're sister organizations, but one is the nonprofit, which is the New Hollywood. And our main program called TNH Accountability Program focuses on supporting formerly homeless single moms with grants, goals, and mentorship. And that's been really amazing. We're the alumni program for Harvest Home, which helps homeless moms. And so I have that. And then the other main group that's been going on for 20 years now, literally 20 years this year, uses the guidebook. If you're watching on YouTube or whatever, it's called Manifesting Your Mission. It's a big old guidebook for the year and a system that we created that worked with how we met and systems that I found that worked. And through that, I've, and those people are all really amazing women. At different times, I had different branches, but I have that branch. I have a younger, thriving artist group as well. But the main thing that I'm really excited about, and you guys mentioned meeting up, I have a retreat in Sonoma, in wine country, as a girls' weekend in the most luxurious 5-star accommodations that it's just incredible. And that's in September, and I'm about half full. And yeah, there's a chef,
Oh,
and
cool.
there's Reiki, and there's yoga, and we have a little wine tasting, and it's a very fun retreat to pour into yourself.
Oh, that's so
Last
cool.
year was fall in love with yourself. I'm like, what other like fall and pouring with wine can
Yeah.
we do? Have fun, go back to yourself. And I'm a big, like you guys, I'm big into like self-help and working on yourself and
Mhm.
busy, busy, busy type A, but I'm also about going inside, loving on myself, celebrating, having fun, just sucking the mirror out of life.
Yeah. Where can
Sure.
people get your book? Do you want to tell us about your website?
Yeah, it's called manifestingyourmission.org. And
Okay.
that has under the shop that has the different communities, it has the book. And if you want to sign up for long distance Reiki, I do it once a month. Because that's been a fun thing that I've taken on over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's always been a secret sauce for me is Reiki. And then there's the retreat as well. And I've been posting a lot about the retreat and about wellness babes
Yeah.
and my social is at Brianna Brown Keen.
Okay. And that is a huge thing too for people, and Katie chime in too, because acupuncture and Reiki, Katie and I, Dr. Kimberly Farr here in Falmouth, Maine, and then Katie probably has people out in the Washington
Oh, yeah.
area, but I don't do anything else with my old athletic gymnastic back, but acupuncture and
Yeah.
Reiki and so forth. So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Well, I can speak to Brianna's manifesting your mission because she coached me for a long time. And you are looking at me 75 pounds lighter.
Yay.
And I now do Pilates. And I don't think I ever would have had the energy to write the book with you, Elizabeth, had it not been for Brianna really working hard with me around, okay, how do you want to age? You're 65, but you're not 80.
Yeah.
And she was very patient and wonderful. And I can really speak to anybody going to that retreat is going to walk away with a lot of wisdom because Brianna, you have a lot of wisdom. And one of the things I want to ask you is you always ask your guests what turning point happened in their life. What's yours? I've always wanted to ask you that because you do such a beautiful job of it asking your guests, but what's yours?
Um, well, it's a long story, but I think my big, like, dark night of the soul, right? That big,
Mhm.
difficult thing that then later I can see was a silver lining. I have to go back to when I was 14. And when I was 14, I was severely bullied. I'd been very much bullied since second grade on, different groups of people. So it wasn't new to me. But at 14, I think there was some things where chemically I was on a drug called Paxil, which they later found out was not good for adolescents. It
Oh,
caused suicidal tendencies in adolescence, or could. I was being severely bullied, and to the point where I nearly took my life. So at 14, I was hospitalized. And in the hospital, I remember wanting to die and banging my head on the ground because they take everything away from you. And I had a God moment. That's what it was to me. I felt like light came through the top of my head and through my body, and I suddenly had a calm throughout my body. And I just had a knowing that I was going to be okay and that I had a purpose. And from that moment on, I was able to, like, before they wouldn't let me go home, we're like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then they're like, no, you're not. But then they let me go home. And I mean, it wasn't like, and then everything was perfect, but I had a real energetic shift in who I was. I became a massive overachiever. I spoke up and held accountable the people that had been bullying me, and corrected the story about all these rumors that had been going on around me and the sexual harassment. And I just became really driven. And even though I had extreme stage fright. Like if you look at, it doesn't make sense for me to be an actress because when I auditioned for plays in middle school, I did not make them because I was that terrible. I had that much like, I was so scared to sing beyond the page. I literally remember standing up, looking at and at the, the board and not making it. And it wasn't competitive. Like I wasn't even a tree, And so it wasn't until after I had gone through that really horrible thing that one of the choir teachers, and I also think there was some, divineness in that. This choir teacher who was an assistant came in and she said to me, like, you should really try out for the high school play. Now, our high school plays were super competitive. And they had moved me to an advanced choir. And I think honestly, to kind of keep me away from some of the people that had been not great to me in my freshman choir, and I could sing. But because of her encouragement and, and I was in like the car with her at one point, which is just not normal. Like, I don't remember what had happened, but I was in the car with her and she like gave me some words of wisdom and she encouraged me and I went and I auditioned for it. And was I the lead? No, of course not. I was the chorus and I had to deal with stage fright and I had to deal with all this stuff. But again, at 14, I started cold calling agencies downtown being like, how do I be an actress? It made no sense. And then how I got picked, a picture was taken of me and an agent said, I wonder if she can act. And then they pickpocketed me and brought me out to Los Angeles. Like there's so many things that kind of aligned. So, and then actually to go back, there was one thing that was so crazy, Katie and Elizabeth. I remember I was in the car with my mom. I had to go back and visit the hospital because you go back for like a checkup. And I remember having this, how you have those like moments that are just sizzled into your brain and you just never forget them, hopefully. I remember being in the back seat. My mom was in the front. And I said to my mom, again, this is 14. This is before I'd ever made a play or anything. I said, Mom, I just said with all this, with knowing, because as you know, Katie, I get downloads, but like at that point, I didn't realize that. I said, Mom, I'm going to be an actress. And she looked in the rearview mirror and she looked at me like, I'm sure she in her mind, she's like, this girl, she's never even made a play. She can't, and I said, I'm going to be an actress. And she goes, oh, I said, I'm going to be an actress because actors can be more powerful than politicians.
Whoa.
At 14. No,
Wow.
I didn't say actors are more powerful because they're not.
Right.
But the point was like, it's a platform and you can do good or, you can portray someone with schizophrenia, with compassion, right? Like there are things, or it can be healing, right? Through comedy. So I'm not saying that, we should put celebrities and all their opinions on a pedestal because I don't believe that. But the point was that you can then make a big difference. And I don't know, at 14, how did I know? And I'd never met anyone who made a living as an artist or an actor at all.
Pretty cool.
Yep. Sounds like a godsend to me. That's what I call it.
How were the next 5 years?
Oh, well, the next 5 years in high school, from that moment on, I just didn't give a, know what for other people. Like, I'm like, and it was good because I walked to the beat of my own drum versus trying to like sit at the cool table or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to do me, whatever I like to do. And I just was a massive overachiever. When I got brought out to Los Angeles. I had reps that brought me out to Los Angeles at 19. I did really well to begin with. And then, when it was like the actual, you need to live here and the adulting, that phase is so funny. The adulting, that was really tricky because only a few months in, I hurt my back so badly that I was put on disability. I was told I'd never run again. And my parents were from the moment I decided to go to Los Angeles and I took a break from college, they were like, that's fine, but sink or swim.
Yeah.
So, I went from suburbs of Minnesota, right? And the college I went
to, right? Edina. It's funny.
No, Apple Valley, like
you were Apple Valley. Okay,
Apple Valley. I wasn't as cultured as Edina.
Yeah.
I
would lived in Apple Valley. That's funny. I lived in Apple Valley as a little kid.
Oh, yeah. And then the college I went to was St. Olaf College for a little bit. And that's like a private Christian college. So that's even more small.
Yeah.
Even more like protected. And then I remember when I first came to Los Angeles, I stayed with this girl that I was subletting from. This is so funny. I was subletting from and I was like, oh my God, Therese, you look so thin. Because I went out to get Thai food with her. My mom had left. I was in this crazy janky apartment that like had not safe, all around it. And and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing coke." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh.
I was like a drug ed teacher and a youth leader, right? Like this was not my jam. And she's like, "Come with me to a party." And like, I'm like this weird
How about
party.
now? Yeah.
I was like, the most jarring start to LA. I'm like, this is
So you
scary.
got so you got a bigger college experience than St. Olaf right off the bat with your roommate, because like that's what it's like going to a big college. It's like, oh my gosh, you see
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, our
Yeah.
Oh,
kids have
even a
seen
small
everything.
college, you get
I
that.
have a question for
Yeah.
you for now. I'm going to jump back. I'm jumping all around a little bit, but okay,
Yeah.
right now, what do you, because I'm really big into vocalizing goals, dreams, and so forth, so people can hear you, show up for you, you show up for yourself, all those things, and we just know you a little bit better. What do you dream of happening with your life now moving forward? Like,
Oh, I
what are
love
the things that you've got going on?
Well, aside from being a wife and a mother, right? I have a almost 8-year-old, and that's like he's my favorite thing ever. And I
Yeah.
love having adventures with him. But my personal creative goals, I want to continue to act and be on different shows. I'm ready to be on a series again. I took a hiatus after I had Charlie and wasn't willing to do it to the same degree because I had been gone so much. I felt like I lived at the Atlanta airport. I was like,
Yeah.
"Hi, Atlanta airport." Um, and you don't have control of your schedule. And
Yeah.
I worked on different things, you know?
Raise my hand for a second to interrupt you. And
Yeah.
don't you think it's hard to be both mom and work? Just be honest.
I think the feminist movement lied to us, and I'm really angry about it. I'm not really angry, but I do think they lied. I think they said,
Huh.
"Hey, go be like a man and don't embrace your femininity and don't embrace the caretaking and don't embrace focusing on family because that's somehow like not good, and don't focus on, especially in LA, I feel like there's just it's different in different parts of the country with different culture, but like wait to have children. I know some women that waited too long,
Yeah.
and they didn't meet their person, or they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on IVF because they don't tell you it takes at least 3 rounds for most people, and that's $90,000 unless you have amazing insurance, right? Like, I just feel like we're being lied to about being able to do it all at the same time and the reality of our fertility.
Yeah.
It's like,
I had I had my first baby when I was 25 years old almost, like right on the cusp of almost 25, and I had a job that was paying me 6 figures. And then I had another baby about 18 months later with the same job, and I just remember trying to figure out how are these little ones gonna turn out with nobody around them, like, we're like, "Here you go, daycare." And so I remember making a choice to do things all the way back then in the early '90s, like work from home. I had this
yeah,
giant cell phone that was, like, this long and this way, and the thing had a wire and all
yeah,
these things to do it, and I think eventually I had a nanny that flew around with me when I would
yeah,
do presentations and the kids and everything, and I blew out my immune system. I mean, that is definitely why I have life-threatening food allergies and issues for sure, and I was
yeah.
exhausted and everything. So I'm wondering are you gonna kick that up? You know, are you gonna turn the volume up all the way now that he's 8 and in school, or partially, or how do you balance that? 'Cause I just still mine are 25, 27, 29, and 31 now, right? So we're okay, I'm like, I can do whatever I want in a way. But I all the way up till they were through college, they needed us in one way or another. It was still
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really it's not like, I have total control of that, right?
yeah.
But
Well, yeah,
energetically, we can be like, "Oh, I want that, I'm open to that, or I'm not as open to it," and we attract more or less based on that, right?
yeah.
Whether we realize it or not. And so, yeah, I'm open to doing like I did a, uh big arc on Outer Banks season 5. So that was really fun as the villain, as a, kind of a villainy character. But that's one of the things. And then also public speaking. I've been doing more public speaking. I have a really amazing keynote that I'm really proud of called Manifesting Your Mission: How to Marry Creativity and Productivity to Create a Life You Love. And I just love creating things. I love to be
Yeah.
creative. I love to help people. So I'll continue doing all that I'm doing, but I, I'm excited for this summer because it's actually a phase of I'm keeping all the balls rolling. And as Katie, I have a lot of irons in the fire, but I'm also going to be in a yummy kind of incubation phase to kind of bring all my energy in to then get really clear in the fall of what avenue I'm putting all that energy. So, yeah, I'm being strategic in that. But those are the things that I know are up ahead.
Do you have goals of like, again, this is just random question because I'm just curious. Do you have how do you set your goals for what you're going to do? Because some people do them energetically. Some people kind of get the vibe of what's going on and they think, okay, that project's right for me. And some people are like, someday I'm going to win an Academy Award and it can be for whatever, but that's my goal. I'm going to do that.
Right.
What are your goals like that? And how do you set those?
Well, like, because I worked with Katie, she knows I've done coaching for people people that are ready to like really, accelerate. Um, I and then there's obviously the coaching program that I created to help within the nonprofit to help the formerly homeless single moms under the New Hollywood. I have a whole system. So in that guidebook, the new manifesting your mission, it's the system. And so every year I get really clear on what I want my goals to be by getting good with me and me. There's always room for fluidity on that. When someone would say something like, I want to win an Academy Award, I would say, so that's an intention and a visualization. That's not a goal that you have any sort of control over. So that is silly to me, right? Like, so not that it's not attainable for some people, but if you understand the reality of how any of these award systems work, it is so political. So, and also, what if that's not what is ultimately in your highest good? What if you being indie queen is actually what's in your highest good? So why we don't want to hold back what's actually in our best interest. So, there's a fluidity of like, this is what I want. And a marrying of the masculine and the feminine, the allowing and the and receiving and the feminine energy, and then also the like, being really focused and forward. And we have to have fluidity in the different phases of our life with what we're dealing with. And then also what is most urgent and important. If you have a health issue, which again, most people I've worked with and know of and I've dealt with, if you have any sort of health issue, you can't be accelerating like a Lamborghini if you are using fuel that is toxic.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to get that good so that then we can really, really, again, that's part of why wellness babes. That's why that you have that, then you can really run at things. But I see a lot of people trying to run at something, but then they have chronic health issues, or they're trying to run at something and then they have like massive debt or their relationships falling apart. And it's like, you're not dealing with the fires in your life that are actually they're the most urgent and important and need your attention. So let's deal with those to also be able to help you get there. And again, I talk about that in my guidebook. And Katie, you know that I'm
And I want to say too that one of your gifts, and not everybody does this, is there's almost a societal push. You mentioned the feminist movement and the pushes from the feminist movement, but there's this push to do it quickly.
Yeah.
And you don't do that. You really allow time for a person to really understand who they are and what their needs are. And you slow people down, like myself, who happen to be a AAA. You slow me way down and say, wait. You need to look at this and you need to look at that. So one of the things that I want to say that, but I also want to ask you this question. I really admire how much you lift women up, because oftentimes women don't lift women up. We're bad at that. We need to do better at that. And we talk about that all the time, right, Elizabeth? We're constantly saying women need to lift women up.
Yeah.
So what is your greatest source of hope that you can pass on and lift people up with?
Well, I think most women don't support other women, even though they think they do, because energetically that gossip, that side eye, that jab, that trying to get her guy's attention so you can feel better, the jealousy that's not the awareness, oh, that's something that maybe I want to, instead of, it being about them and not using it as fuel for yourself, right? So I think that women have a lot of work to do, and yes, men have work to do too, but I think if we lead by example, we can lovingly inspire men to be on our side, which is why I'm a big Alison Armstrong fan, about creating partnership and not, more tribalism.
Right.
So, I think that the big thing that I would say to everyone is we are more capable than we realize. And
Mhm.
it's not getting out of our own way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm super anti like victim. My mom was a super big victim. I hated that dynamic. Woe is me. And I'm definitely I'm going to take full and total responsibility in my life and with what's happening. And sometime life's because that is life. What can I do based on the reality of these circumstances? What is within my control and how can I use it to my advantage? And I think that that is part of my secret sauce.
Mm, I would agree with that. What can you do? What can you do?
Yes.
Yes.
How has being so beautiful helped you and hurt you?
Well, I think that's part of why I was so severely bullied. So, I didn't, and also my mom didn't ever tell me I was beautiful because she didn't want me to have a big head. So that
Good.
did not serve me. I didn't realize that. And so I actually had to learn how to be, especially then when I became an actress, how to compete with girls who were taught how to do all the things. Like I didn't know
Mhm.
how to do all the things. So I had to learn how do you do
That's
this
what
stuff?
keeps you charming, though. I don't ever want you to be like that. Then I don't think we would all be friends if you were like that, because it's nauseating. It
No,
it really
there's a
is.
fine line to not make sure
Yeah,
your daughter doesn't have any confidence. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
Right. Oh, yeah.
it she didn't instead of her saying like, "Yeah, this girl's jealous of you. Here's how you deal with jealous girls." I then internalized with there's something wrong with me
Right,
or
right,
I'm not enough, right? Like the common Louise Hay, like I'm not enough syndrome.
Right.
So it took me years to understand that. So I think and having a lot of women be really awful to me. Just,
mm,
and even as an adult, which is so kooky, but we all go through different phases. And then also when I was younger with men, I went through my Me Too moments. I was smart enough to get out of rooms. I
yeah,
wasn't desperate to put myself in situations to try and be famous, you know? No, that doesn't excuse people that were genuinely like, had bad things happen. But I also know a lot of people that did things to try and get ahead and had no problems with that. So I'm like, it was the way of the time. I was told when I was a young actress, act like you want to, what, him. And I remember being like, no,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
going to put myself in that situation. But most women did,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah,
And so that's also something that's not spoken about, right?
yeah,
Where it's like, well, we need to take some responsibility for that too.
yeah.
If we want to evolve as women and so that we can just lead by example, and not just be angry, angry, angry. It's like, yeah, this is a complicated conversation and there's a lot of nuance and this is how we can just be better as humans.
And
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite things about you, though, is that you don't conduct yourself in that way of like, "Oh, I'm so this," that you know what I mean? It makes it that's what I was saying earlier is like, I
Oh
don't think we would all be friends if you did that because I've known you from the get-go, and I think I said to you, like, "This is the most gorgeous photograph of somebody, like, I personally have ever seen in my life, and, like, this is you, and thank you for doing this and everything," and you're like, "It's just me." It's just me normal. And if you look here, I've got, whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's flat out gorgeous. You should be like on People magazine, most gorgeous human being on the planet thing. And what I love about you more than anything is that I don't know how to say it right, maybe, but you don't act like that
yeah.
ever. I've never seen you act like you're better than anybody. I've never seen you act like that you're more beautiful than anybody. I've never seen you act in any way, shape, or form around any human being that makes us feel less than you ever.
Well,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that my mom did do well is because that wasn't put on the pedestal of what to focus on. Um, that has not been it's been a focus because of work, but it hasn't been a focus because of like who
Yeah.
I am. And I also believe we all have incredible gifts given to us. And, we all are our own we all have our little different genius.
things, don't we? Yeah.
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 And I think also, what shoots you down and makes you not feel pretty is getting a million no's or having cystic acne as you're trying to be on set. Like it's humbling, you're going into a room full of supermodels and you're like not tall enough and you're like, and they're like, yeah, being told you look like a lollipop and what's wrong with you. And so, from someone who didn't have a great sense of self and then going into an industry that is cutthroat, I've been
Oh, God.
knocked on my knees.
Yeah, me
So
too. As a former news anchor, I've had all of that too.
yeah,
Like, not tall enough. You have a scar here. You've got a wrinkle here. I mean, just your hair's too blonde. Your hair's too dark. Your hair's too short. Your hair's too long. You're too short. You're too everything. Everything's said. So it is a really thick skin, isn't it? That you need for almost just anything, really.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
now with social media and everything, it's all crazy.
Brianna, you're so filled with wisdom, and we've talked about some of it. But if you had one message to leave with the listeners, what would it be?
uh, and something that I talk about in my speech, that if something isn't working in my life, it means there's something that I don't know yet.
Mm, wow.
That's a
Wonderful.
good. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm going to remember
Something is,
that one. That's
if
really
something
good.
isn't working in my life, it simply
Yeah.
means something I don't know. Yeah.
Something you don't know. Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
You
Yeah.
will know it. If you want it, if you want to know it, you will. All right.
Right.
But,
Right.
or, and it's like that thing where you look back and thank God for unanswered prayers, and someone tells you, like, he always wished he never broken up with you. And you're like, amazing, I win. Right. Years later. Whatever,
Yeah.
like sometimes you get those little whispers of reassurance and you don't know when you're going to know some point, or you don't know why you have the health issue, but like, what if that's the thing that helps you understand blank or whatever? I just, again, had I not hurt my back so severely, I would not have gotten into health and wellness in the same way. And it wouldn't have helped me like have tenacity. There's just so many good things from
Yeah.
something that was really difficult.
Yes, absolutely. It's what you learn with it. It's what you learn and what you do with it. Absolutely. Wonderful.
All
Great
right.
way
We
to
love
end.
having you on. We
Yes,
will
thank
to
you.
everybody listening, and to Brianna too. You don't know this yet, but we are going to follow up with you with a list of 10 or 15 questions to actually answer in
Okay.
print, not in print, but in writing. And that goes with a blog and that goes with the show onto besteveryou.com. So we kind of keep it comprehensive. So, because some people like to read, some people like to watch the show, some people like to listen. It's just all over the place with how
Sure.
people learn. But we will put all of the links to everything we talked about. And even if we didn't talk about it, we can schedule another show and do another half hour or hour and have you talk more about wellness babes. Because that was pretty interesting. It'd be kind of fun to deep dive into that, because this felt like more of a catch up call because you haven't been on Best Ever You for a while. It's
Yeah.
been years. Yeah. So this is a little bit of a catch up for me anyway. And then maybe we could come back and do something more like perfectly focused on wellness babes. Would that work for you?
That would be awesome. I would love that. I'm so excited about it. I'm so passionate about health and wellness. Like I said, if you have the fuel, like then you can go anywhere.
Is there a website to go to for wellness babes?
Yeah, it's wellnessbabes.org. And if you go to my Instagram and you go under my link in bio, we have the free reset, which is for 5 days. So you can sign up for that. And then we have the course and community. And it's like the pricing is super ridiculously low for our founders rate. And then you also get a box of some of our favorite goodies, our favorite food from Mother's Market, which is a female owned grocery store. So it's a lot of fun. It was exactly what I wish I would have had. And that's why I created it.
Yep. Isn't that nice how we do that? That's what we do with our books too. It's like, I wish I had this when I was 20 or whatever it is. So
Yeah. No, I just want to tell people she's the real deal. She is who she is.
that makes me thrilled. Even if you did have a goal secretly to win an Academy Award, which I kind of honestly I do have for you. Just
You know
saying,
what?
I hold that energy all
Vision,
the time.
vision and a visualization, but I would
But it's
never
not
call
a
it a goal.
goal. I watch the show and I'll think, if there's one human being who should be here right now, it's Brianna. Somebody find her and give her a role like that.
I adore
We
you
love you,
both.
love.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you,
Bye.
Katie. Thank you, Brianna. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the Best Ever You Show and watching the Best Ever You Show. Remember, we are grassroots, everybody. We do not advertise anything on besteveryou.com or the Best Ever You Show. We're coming up on 9 million downloads on this show alone, and new growth on besteveryou.com daily. So we're really, really grateful for everybody and embracing our guest, Brianna Brown Keen. And I will put up all the websites, and Katie will as well, for everything that you've got going on. And we wish you very well. And we'll see you guys again next time. All right.
Maybe
Thank you,
maybe
everybody.
maybe
Bye.
you have